When everything falls apart, when the power grid dies and society crumbles into chaos, your home becomes either your sanctuary or your tomb. The difference isn't how much food you've stored or how many weapons you own. The difference is whether anyone knows you have those things. Because in a collapsed world, visibility equals vulnerability, and if you want to survive, you need to disappear. Most people preparing for disaster make one fatal mistake. They prepare in plain sight. They stack sandbags by their windows, install obvious security cameras, reinforce their doors with steel bars that scream valuable things inside. They think they're building a fortress, but what they're actually doing is painting a target on their home. In a world without law enforcement, without 911, without any authority to call for help, that target will get you killed. Your neighbors will notice, desperate strangers will notice, and they will come. Right now, before the collapse, you have a window of opportunity to make your home invisible. Not literally invisible, but strategically unnoticeable. Forgettable. The kind of place that desperate people walk past without a second glance because it looks abandoned, worthless, or already ransacked. This isn't about cowardice. This is about intelligence. This is about understanding that in a survival scenario, the gray man principle applies to your property just as much as it applies to you personally. If you want this knowledge and you're serious about surviving what's coming, subscribe now, because what I'm about to share could be the difference between your family living or dying when society breaks down. The first principle of home invisibility is understanding what attracts attention during collapse. Light is the biggest betrayer. In a blackout scenario, a single candle visible through your window can be seen from blocks away. People will gravitate toward light like moths, because light means someone has power, resources, or fire. If you're the only house on the block with lights on at night, you're announcing to everyone within visual range that you have something worth taking. During the 2003 Northeast blackout, homes with generators became instant targets for break-ins. During Hurricane Katrina, the few houses with visible power sources were hit within hours. Your solution starts with blackout discipline. Every window in your home needs blackout capability. Not flimsy curtains, not blinds with gaps. Real blackout materials. Heavy-duty black fabric, blackout curtains specifically designed to block 100% of light, or even black plastic sheeting secured with duct tape around every edge of your windows. Test this at night from outside. Walk around your property in complete darkness and look for any light leakage. Even a thin line of light under a door or around a window frame can give you away. Professional preppers use double layers, blackout curtains on the inside and regular curtains on the outside so the house still looks normal during the day. But light isn't just about windows. Your exterior lights need to be disabled or covered before chaos starts. Motion sensor lights, porch lights, decorative lighting, all of it becomes a liability. In a grid-down situation, solar-powered lights will keep working and will mark your property. Remove the batteries now or cover the solar panels with black tape. Some preppers go further and physically remove all exterior lighting fixtures during the early stages of societal breakdown, replacing them with fake broken fixtures that look vandalized or non-functional. The second major attention magnet is sound. Generators are survival tools, but they're also noise beacons. A standard generator running at 70 decibels can be heard from several hundred feet away in a quiet, collapsed neighborhood. That sound tells everyone within earshot that you have fuel, power, and probably supplies worth protecting. If you must run a generator, it needs to be silenced and concealed. Build a sound-dampening enclosure using mass-loaded vinyl, acoustic foam, and proper ventilation to prevent overheating. Place it in your basement or a soundproofed shed. Never run it continuously. Use it in short bursts during times when ambient noise might mask it, like during storms or high winds. Better yet, invest in silent power alternatives. Solar panels with battery banks make no noise, but here's the critical detail. Your solar panels cannot be visible. Rooftop solar installations are advertisements that you have power independence. If you already have rooftop panels, you need a plan to camouflage or remove them quickly when stability breaks. Ground-mounted panels should be in your backyard, hidden behind fencing or vegetation, angled away from neighboring properties. Some advanced preppers use camouflage netting designed for military applications to conceal their solar arrays. Smell is the third betrayer, and most people completely overlook this. When food becomes scarce, the smell of cooking will carry for blocks. Grilled meat, baking bread, even boiled rice produces odors that will draw hungry, desperate people to your location. During the siege of Sarajevo, survivors learned that cooking smells were dangerous. People were tracked and robbed based on food odors alone. Your cooking methods must produce minimal smell. Pressure cookers contain odors better than open pots. Cooking in a basement with sealed doors and covered vents reduces smell dispersion. Some preppers use outdoor rocket stoves placed deep in their property, downwind from roads and neighbors, and only cook during times when wind direction carries smells away from populated areas. Food waste management becomes critical. Rotting garbage, food scraps, and cooking waste all produce smells. You cannot put trash bags on your curb during collapse. You need a waste management system that's invisible and odorless. Composting must be done in sealed containers, not open piles. Burying food waste in deep holes far from your home perimeter works. Some survivalists burn combustible waste in contained fire pits during low visibility conditions, but this produces smoke, which brings us to another visibility problem. Smoke from chimneys and fire pits is visible for miles. In a winter collapse scenario, heat becomes essential, but a smoking chimney tells everyone that you're home, warm, and have fuel. If you're using a wood stove or fireplace, burn only seasoned hardwood that produces minimal smoke. Run your stove hot to ensure complete combustion, which reduces visible smoke output. Only burn fires during overcast days when smoke disperses into clouds, or during fog when visibility is naturally reduced. Never burn fires at night when smoke shows up against dark skies. Install chimney caps and spark arresters that reduce visible smoke plumes. Your home's exterior appearance is your next invisibility layer. A well-maintained property during collapse is suspicious. Mowed lawns, trimmed hedges, clean driveways. These signal that someone is home and functional. Your property needs to look abandoned or worthless. Let your grass grow wild. Don't rake leaves. Allow minor exterior damage to remain visible, like a broken shutter or peeling paint. Some preppers intentionally create the appearance of ransacking by breaking a window or kicking in a door, then repairing it from the inside while leaving the outside damage visible. Graffiti or spray-painted X marks like those used by FEMA search teams can make your home look already searched and cleared. Remove all visible signs of habitation. Take down decorations, flags, and anything that suggests occupancy. Your mailbox should look unused, stuffed with junk mail, or removed entirely. Vehicles in your driveway are dangerous visibility markers. If possible, hide vehicles in garages or cover them with tarps that make them look disabled. Flat tires, missing wheels, or broken windows on visible vehicles reinforce the abandoned appearance. Some survivalists keep a junker vehicle in their driveway specifically for this purpose, something that looks completely non-functional while their real vehicles are hidden. Security measures must be invisible. Visible cameras, alarm company signs, and reinforced doors tell potential threats that you have something worth protecting. Your real security should be covert. Hidden cameras disguised as everyday objects, motion sensors concealed in landscaping, and defensive positions that aren't obvious from the street. Window reinforcements need to be behind curtains, not visible bars. Door reinforcements should be interior deadbolts and slide bars, not exterior metal gates. Your perimeter security can be enhanced with natural barriers that don't look like security. Thorny bushes like barberry, hawthorn, or blackberry planted densely under windows create painful obstacles for intruders without looking like fortifications. These take time to establish, so plant them now. Gravel paths and driveways provide acoustic warning when people approach. You'll hear footsteps on gravel long before someone reaches your door, but it looks like normal landscaping. Early warning systems need to be invisible to outsiders but effective for you. Tripwires connected to bells or chimes, hidden under leaves or grass, can alert you to perimeter breaches. These should be positioned in natural choke points where people would walk. Motion-activated trail cameras, the kind hunters use, can be hidden in trees and vegetation around your property to record approaches without being seen. Check these regularly on battery power. Your entry and exit points require special attention. The front door is the most obvious target, so you need alternative exits that aren't visible. A basement window that can be quickly opened, a back door concealed by overgrown vegetation, or even a pre-cut panel in your fence that creates an escape route. These exits should be prepared now and tested regularly. In a siege scenario, being trapped inside your visible fortress is a death sentence. You need invisible ways out. Food storage must be invisible from both outside and inside your home. If someone does break in, they shouldn't immediately see your supplies. Dedicated hidden storage spaces are essential. False walls in closets, underfloor compartments, storage in attics behind insulation. These locations keep your supplies concealed even during a search. Distribute your storage across multiple hidden locations rather than one large cache. If one spot is discovered, you don't lose everything. Water storage faces the same challenge. Blue water barrels stacked in your garage are obvious. Water should be stored in containers that don't look like water storage. Dark containers in basements, water bladders under beds, or filled bottles scattered across multiple hidden locations. Your water sources need to be invisible. If you have a well, the pump and access point should be concealed inside a structure, not standing openly in your yard. Defense preparations must be invisible until needed. If you have firearms for protection, they cannot be visible through windows or left in obvious locations. Your defensive positions should be pre-planned and rehearsed, but not visible to outsiders. Know where you'll position yourself for maximum coverage of entry points. Have shooting positions prepared that allow you to engage threats while remaining concealed behind solid cover. Practice moving between these positions in darkness without light. Communication security is part of invisibility. Radio transmissions can be tracked. If you're using ham radio or other communication devices, understand that transmission direction finding equipment exists and determined hostile groups might use it. Limit radio use to absolute necessity. Use directional antennas when possible to reduce signal spread. Never discuss specific details about your location, supplies, or security over radio. Assume every transmission is monitored. Your human behavior must match your home's invisible profile. You cannot be seen coming and going with supplies. You cannot have visitors. You cannot play loud music or make noise. During daylight, movement inside your home should be away from windows. At night, movement should be minimal and in complete darkness. You need to live like you're not there. This is psychologically difficult, especially for children, but it's necessary. Practice lockdown drills now. Train your family to move silently, to live without lights, to understand that sound discipline means survival. Information security extends to your social circle. The fewer people who know about your preparations, the safer you are. Loose talk before collapse puts you at risk afterward. People you casually mentioned your supplies to will remember when they're desperate. Your preparations should be known only to those who will be sheltering with you. Everyone else should think you're just as unprepared as they are. This means you can't brag, can't show off your gear, can't post about preparedness on social media with identifying information. The psychology of invisibility requires accepting that you cannot help everyone. This is harsh but true. Visible charity during collapse attracts crowds. If you're seen giving food or water to neighbors, within hours, you'll have dozens of people at your door demanding the same. Your compassion becomes your death sentence. If you choose to help others, it must be done invisibly, anonymously, in ways that don't connect the charity back to your location. This might mean leaving supplies in neutral locations rather than handing them out from your doorstep. Advanced invisibility techniques include decoy locations. Some preppers maintain a visible, lightly stocked sacrifice cache in an obvious location like their garage or a shed. If raiders search the property, they find this cache and assume that's everything, leaving without discovering the real hidden supplies. The decoy needs to be convincing. Some food, basic supplies, nothing so valuable that you can't afford to lose it, but enough that it looks like a real prep. False trails and misdirection can also work. Leave signs that suggest you've evacuated. A note on the door saying, "Gone to sister's house in Kentucky," with a fake address. An empty house that looks hurriedly abandoned rather than strategically occupied. This psychological misdirection can make raiders move on to easier targets. Your operational security after collapse requires constant vigilance. Trash and evidence must be managed invisibly. You cannot leave empty food cans, packaging, or waste where it can be found. Everything must be buried deep, burned to ash, or stored hidden until it can be disposed of safely. Your gray water and sewage must be managed without creating visible evidence. In a grid-down scenario, toilets don't flush. You need a waste system that's sanitary and invisible. Composting toilets, deep burial, or sealed storage systems. Seasonal changes affect invisibility. Winter brings challenges because lack of snow on your roof indicates interior heat, while neighboring abandoned houses will have snow accumulation. You need to manage this by either keeping your home very cold, using heating only in interior rooms where heat doesn't reach the roof, or accepting that you might need to appear abandoned externally while maintaining warmth only in hidden interior spaces. Summer vegetation growth requires management without appearing maintained. Strategic wildness is the goal. Enough growth to look abandoned, but not so much that it becomes a fire hazard or makes your property impassable. Weather events provide both opportunities and risks. Heavy storms offer cover for generator use, resupply missions, or perimeter security checks because ambient noise and chaos mask your activities. But extreme weather also tests your invisibility systems. High winds can tear camouflage, floods can expose hidden supplies. You need weatherproofing that doesn't compromise concealment. Long-term invisibility sustainability requires rotating invisibility techniques because static patterns can be detected. Occasionally varying when you use generators, changing light discipline routines slightly, and avoiding predictable schedules makes pattern recognition harder for observers. But these variations must remain within the overall framework of staying unnoticed. The hardest part of invisibility is maintaining it under stress. When you're scared, when your family is threatened, when you hear people outside, the instinct is to show force, to make noise, to warn them off. This is usually a fatal mistake. Remaining invisible and letting threats pass by is almost always safer than revealing your position. Every confrontation avoided is a victory. Every potential hostile group that walks past your unremarkable, seemingly abandoned home without stopping is proof that your invisibility strategy works. This isn't paranoia. This is pattern recognition based on every collapse in modern history. After Hurricane Katrina, homes that appeared occupied were targeted systematically. During the Argentine economic collapse of 2001, visible wealth brought home invasions and kidnappings. In Venezuela's ongoing collapse, people with obvious resources face constant threats. The pattern is universal. Visibility in chaos means victimization. Your children need to understand this without being traumatized. Age-appropriate explanations that teach them why silence and darkness are temporary safety measures, not permanent fear states. Help them cope. Practice makes it normal rather than terrifying. Regular drills where the family practices lockdown procedures, moving in darkness, and staying silent turn these skills into habits rather than panic responses. Medical emergencies during invisible operations require pre-planning. You cannot call an ambulance. You cannot go to a hospital without potentially exposing yourself and losing your invisible status. Your medical supplies and knowledge must be sufficient to handle injuries and illness internally. This means serious medical training now, while resources exist. Combat medic courses, wilderness first responder certification, and advanced first aid training give you the skills to handle trauma without external help. The mental health challenge of living invisibly cannot be ignored. Isolation, constant vigilance, and the stress of maintaining operational security wear people down. You need coping strategies, meditation, physical exercise done quietly indoors, routines that maintain psychological stability. Mental breakdown is a security breach because it can lead to irrational decisions that expose your position. There will come a moment in any collapse when you must decide whether to stay invisible or reveal yourself. Maybe it's to help someone you care about. Maybe it's because staying hidden becomes impossible due to changing circumstances. This decision might save lives or end them. There's no universal answer, but the decision should be made consciously, strategically, based on current threat assessment and potential benefit, never out of emotion or impulse. The ultimate goal of home invisibility is buying time. Time for order to be restored, time for the immediate chaos to pass, Time for desperate mobs to exhaust themselves searching more obvious targets. In most collapse scenarios, the initial weeks are the most dangerous. Survival past that critical window dramatically increases your chances because the threat environment typically evolves. Threats either die off, move on, or organize into more predictable patterns. But some collapses don't resolve quickly. Some become permanent new realities. In those scenarios, invisibility transitions from a survival tactic to a lifestyle. You're not waiting for rescue. You're establishing a new normal that includes staying hidden as a permanent defensive posture. This requires sustainable invisibility, systems that don't wear out, techniques that don't require constant resupply, and psychological frameworks that allow long-term hidden living without mental deterioration. Your home invisible strategy must include contingency for discovery. Despite perfect execution, someone might stumble onto your location. Maybe they see smoke you didn't know was visible. Maybe they hear a sound you didn't realize carried. Maybe they just get lucky and guess right. When discovery happens, you need a response plan that doesn't escalate to violence immediately. Non-confrontational de-escalation, appearing weaker than you are, offering minor items from your decoy cache to encourage them to leave peacefully. These tactics can resolve discovery without bloodshed. But you also need a violent response plan if de-escalation fails, because defending your family is non-negotiable. The key is having both options prepared and knowing when to deploy each. Testing your invisibility before collapse is critical. Have trusted friends or family attempt to detect signs of your presence. Do they see light leakage at night? Can they hear your generator? Can they smell cooking? Do security measures stand out? Honest feedback now fixes vulnerabilities before they're fatal. Regular testing and adjustment improve your systems continuously. Documentation of your invisibility systems helps but must be secured. Written guides for each family member on light discipline, sound discipline, and emergency procedures ensure everyone knows the plan. But these documents cannot be left where raiders might find them because they reveal your strategies and hidden locations. Memorization is safer than written records, but written backup stored in a hidden, fireproof location provides redundancy if someone forgets critical details under stress. Community invisibility creates a different challenge. If your entire neighborhood or mutual assistance group adopts invisibility tactics, the coordinated effect is powerful, but coordinating without creating obvious patterns of movement or communication requires careful planning. Predetermined signals that look natural, like specific lawn decorations or window arrangements, can communicate status without verbal contact or electronic transmission. The ethics of invisibility sometimes trouble preppers. Is it morally acceptable to hide while others suffer? This is a personal question with no single answer. Some preppers plan to help invisibly once the initial chaos passes. Others prioritize their family's survival above all else. Whatever your ethical framework, understand that you cannot help anyone if you're dead or captured. Invisible survival preserves your capability to assist later, when helping is safer and more sustainable. Technology can enhance invisibility if used correctly. Thermal imaging cameras let you scan for heat signatures of approaching people without exposing yourself. Night vision allows nighttime perimeter checks without light. Motion sensors with silent alerts to a hidden monitoring station let you track approaches without visible security equipment. But all technology has failure points. Batteries die. Electronics break. Your invisibility cannot depend solely on technology. Manual backups for every system ensure functionality when devices fail. Your vehicles need invisibility protocols. If you must travel during collapse, your vehicle should look unremarkable. Dirty, slightly damaged, no gear visible inside, no bumper stickers that suggest political views or interests. You want to blend into background chaos. Heavily armed convoy vehicles attract attention and conflict. A beaten-up sedan with mismatched panels gets ignored. Travel invisibility extends to routes. Avoid main roads where checkpoints and ambushes concentrate. Use side streets and back roads that see less traffic. Plan multiple routes between any 2 points and vary your paths to avoid predictable patterns. Resource invisibility during procurement is equally important. If you're forced to scavenge or trade after collapse, you cannot return to your home obviously carrying supplies. Stage supplies at hidden intermediate locations and transport them home in small, concealed loads during low visibility times. This prevents followers from tracking you back to your base. The transition period, the time between normal society and complete collapse, is when you implement your invisibility plan. This transition might be sudden or gradual, but there will be indicators: power grid instability, widespread supply shortages, emergency broadcasts, martial law declarations. When you see these signs, start your invisibility protocols before everyone else realizes how bad things are getting. Early implementation maximizes effectiveness because you disappear while people are still distracted by their own problems, rather than searching for resources. Final preparations include mental rehearsal. Visualize living invisibly for weeks or months. Walk through scenarios where you hear someone breaking into a neighbor's house but must remain hidden. Imagine the stress of keeping children quiet while threats are outside. Mental preparation reduces panic when these situations become real. You've already experienced them in your mind, so the actual event doesn't overwhelm you with novelty shock. This is your advantage. While others prepare for confrontation, you're preparing to avoid it entirely. While they build visible fortresses that attract attention, you're erasing your presence. While they plan to fight for every resource, you're planning to be invisible until there's nothing left to fight over. This isn't cowardice. This is the ultimate strategic thinking. Winning by not fighting, surviving by not being found, protecting your family by becoming a ghost in a world of visible targets. When the world collapses and chaos floods through your community, your home will stand unremarkable among the ruins, untouched, unnoticed, invisible. And while desperate people tear each other apart fighting over scraps in the daylight, you and your family will survive in the shadows, waiting for the storm to pass. That's not luck. That's preparation meeting strategy. That's invisibility meeting survival. And if you want to go deeper, check the pinned comment where you'll find detailed guides and documents that can take your preparedness to the next level. Study them now while you still have time, because soon the world won't wait for anyone to be ready.